Welcome to the Hyper Growth Zone podcast. This is your go-to resource for personal growth, mastering communication, and influencing and persuasion techniques that will help you unleash the full potential of yourself and others. Here is your host, Alex Morgan.
Welcome to another episode of the Hyper Growth Zone podcast. My name is Alex Morgan, and I'm a master trainer of hypnosis and NLP. And on this episode, we're going to be discussing why writing your goals isn't enough, and so how you can use your unconscious mind and program your unconscious mind so you can achieve success. And the good thing is if you are writing your goals, this means you're probably doing a lot more than most other people. So writing your goals is a really good thing. So consider that as you're listening to this. However, I'm going to show you throughout this episode how you can actually get data for your mind. You can show your mind rewards. You can do different things that makes it much easier to achieve those goals after you have a well thought out goal that is written down. So I'm not telling you that you're going to achieve all your goals right away. And I'm not even saying to you that goal setting is easy. So think about this as you go through the episode, how you're going to create these wonderful goals. Because in fact, I was actually speaking to someone this week, and we were discussing their goals that they had. And they had a lot of knowledge about goals already, which I'm sure you probably do as well. If you're listening to this, you're probably really curious about goals. Have you ever been really, really curious about something and then all of a sudden it made it so much more easy to learn? Even if you felt confused about something at some point, that confusion leads to you learning more than you ever thought possible. And then all of a sudden you're really just motivated. And then you're totally excited to do what it is you want, whether it's your goals or anything else. So this person, they had a lot of knowledge about goals. Writing down your goals, it doesn't guarantee success. This person didn't think that. What they wanted to know is how they could really align their unconscious mind. And all of a sudden, when we were talking, they became much more conscious of everything the unconscious mind does to help you get your goal. And why do I say this? Because the unconscious mind is the goal getter. And they told me that during this call that we had when we discussed this, that they had some aha moments just because they were so excited that their unconscious mind was more ready than before to get their goal. And I said, look, this conversation was helpful for me because you had such interesting questions. Remember, this person was really, really curious. And then that got them totally motivated and excited. And so this helped me learn a lot about goals. So I want to share some of the information that we were kind of discussing. So just a quick preview. Writing down your goals, remember, this is a really good thing because you need a well thought out goal with focusing on what you want, set in a positive way. You want to have a date, so you need to know when you want to achieve it. You want to know how you feel when you achieve it. You want to have this goal have lots and lots of details, and I'll explain more about that later with this data that I'm talking about. Because goals are all about programming the unconscious mind, gathering data to really create your reality, taking action. Obviously, that's important. And goals, they're easily achievable when you consider the right relationships, resources, and thinking. And also, goals are really easy to achieve when you make them a pleasurable experience and you start to reward yourself. So I'm going to get to all of these things during this episode. So if you've ever been curious about goals and you're not sure why you're not achieving them, or maybe you have really good goals or really well thought out goals and you're wondering why it feels so difficult to achieve those goals, then you'll want to keep listening. And remember, I said, I'm not telling you you're going to achieve your goals right away. And I'm not even saying that this is going to be easy. When you put effort in your mind, though, and you listen to things like this, and then you start to follow the instructions, that's simply all I'm doing. I'm suggesting certain things to you, and maybe I already embedded some suggestions already. You may find that achieving goals is easy just because you set some time aside today to listen to this wherever you are. So thanks for listening, because I'm sure you're going to be feeling better than really when you started listening. So the first idea is you want to program your unconscious mind for success to get the goals. Now, this is because the unconscious mind, it's the goal getter. The conscious mind sets the goal, and the unconscious mind gets the goal. So the unconscious mind works and it operates. It's like a super powered operating system. Most of the things that you're doing, they're underneath your conscious awareness. So your unconscious mind, it has certain behaviors, habits, patterns, conditioning, programming that it automatically runs on. So if your unconscious mind needs to see your goal as real, then that means you're going to achieve it. And the wonderful thing is the unconscious mind, it doesn't know the difference between what's real and imagined. So think about that for a second. So if you actually visualize your goal, your unconscious mind thinks you're achieving it. And every time that you think about your goal and you research stuff about your goal, your unconscious mind is doing actions to get your goal. So there's a few things that you can do to program your mind to get the goals that you want. The first thing is you need to have empowering beliefs in your mind. So if you have any limiting beliefs in your mind or any negative emotions, let's say you have a fear of success or a fear of failure or a fear of just taking action, procrastination, whatever it is, you can get rid of these things just by asking your mind certain questions, and you can use these past beliefs, this past program. You can learn from this. The past is for learning, so then in the future you can achieve all the goals that you want. And you may find it's much easier to achieve goals when you don't have any limitations in the way. Because if you think about it, the conscious mind, the unconscious mind, it has limitations in the way. We were born limitless. Now it's time to be limitless again. So you can get rid of any of these limiting beliefs and learn from all your past programming by asking your unconscious mind different questions. If you have a limiting belief, you can ask your unconscious mind, when did I decide to create this? What can I learn from this? And what can I do instead? Or what do I want to feel instead? Let's say you have fear of failure. What can you learn from this? What do you want to feel or do instead? Don't you see how that makes a lot of sense? Maybe you can already see all the things that you learn as you are sitting here listening to me or wherever you are listening, and you're already feeling different just because you can flip your mind with those questions. So this is how you really program your mind for success. Or you need to visualize your goal. You need to know what is the last thing that has to happen so you know you got it. And really intensify the feeling that you have with that, and make sure that you have really good emotions in there. And think about your environment too. What's going to be an ideal environment for you to achieve this goal? Who's going to be around you? All these wonderful things. And when you visualize your goal, it's important that you see your body in the picture, because earlier, the easiest ways to program your mind is through visualization. That's one of the easiest ways. And if you see your body in the picture, your unconscious mind is still going to think that you need to achieve the goal. If you're looking through your own eyes and you're fully associated into this visualization, your unconscious mind, since it doesn't know the difference between what's real and imagined, if all the time you're visualizing you completing the goal, your unconscious mind is going to think that your goal is completed. And it's not really going to put in the effort so much to achieve the goal. So that's what you want to think of. So this is really how you program your mind. So writing down your goal is a starting point. That's why I say it's not enough. It's fantastic that you wrote down your goal. If you program your mind for success, then achieving your goal is easy. And if you add more things to it, this is all about layering here. So we're laying the foundation. Your goal is written down, that's the foundation. We're stacking up the programs on your mind on top of that. And then we're now going to stack up gathering data to shape your reality so it makes achieving your goal really easy. This is how your unconscious mind knows there's opportunities, there's risks, there's relevant information, choices, possibilities, everything out there. Your mind, you want to gather data to show your mind that there's solutions to your goal. There's more than one way to get your goal. So if you want to gather certain data, one of the ways is to be around people who have already achieved what you want. They'll give you plenty of data. They'll tell you exactly what you need to do to achieve that goal. Why? Because they already did it. You can also research things online. You could read journal articles. You can listen to podcasts like this. You can consume different content that aligns with your goal. That's going to gather data. You can also keep a journal to track what you're doing. So you need to gather data in that way. One of the things that I recommend is people who want to achieve a goal, in order to gather data, they can do a lot of research online. Let's say that you want to buy a certain car. You can gather lots of data by gathering many, many details about the car. If you know how the car sounds, how it drives, how it feels, if you know certain specifications about the color that you want, the sound system, all those wonderful things, that's all good data for your unconscious mind to get. If you just say, hey, I want to buy this car, and you never really focus on that car and know too many details about it, it's probably not going to be as easy. You may achieve the goal, however, it may seem more like hard work. Remember, I said you may not achieve all your goals right away, and you may not even think that it's so easy. However, if you gather data for the unconscious mind, your goals are going to be so much more easy. So think about a goal and what data do you need to make your unconscious mind know that this is totally real, this is totally easy for you. That's really what you want to think about here. So once you gather the data, this is when you can start to take action on your goal. Because you visualize your goal, you program your mind for your goal, you have data on your goal. However, your goal is not just going to fall out of thin air in your hands. It's not just going to be there for you. Chances are there's no need to wait for the perfect moment either. However, if you're waiting around for things to happen, then chances are you're not going to get your goal. So you need to take action. Every step forward is going to give you new information and new data. And it's okay if you have failures along the way, because these are pretty much only feedback. There's no failure. There's only feedback. These are all more data points for you. You're getting more data. You're getting more data as you go along with every action that you take. And success, it loves speed. When you do things fast and you fail fast and you gather more data fast, your unconscious mind thinks you're doing something. It thinks you're walking the walk, so your unconscious mind is really going to start to trust you as well. And the more your unconscious mind trusts you, the more it's going to put you in really good situations to achieve your goal, because it has more and more data as you take action. So I'm sure you can see how all of these things are layering together. So you have a really good, well thought out goal. It's written down. It has everything that you need in this way to write down the goal. It has all the details you need to know, so your mind knows where to start. And then you laid that other foundation. You programmed your mind for success. There's nothing in the way to you achieving your goal. Now, the wonderful thing about that is the bigger the goal, the more to resolve. So the more you have a big goal, the more you get to resolve, so the better you are going to be in the long run. And then you started to gather data with the unconscious mind, and now that you're taking action, I'm sure you're seeing how easy it can be to achieve your goal. And that means not only are you going to be taking action, you're going to be doing certain things that are going to help you really get your goal. So you want to expand your mind. This is why you also want to have big goals. You want to expand your mind so your goal kind of requires you to acquire certain relationships, certain skills, certain resources, and new ways of thinking. No big goal is just achieved without growing in different ways. So you can think the power of relationships. Maybe you need a mentor, people to collaborate with, people to support you, and you can find the right people, networking, social media, masterminds, people that are achieving these goals. Find out where they hang out in person and online. So this is like a cluster of success here, and what goes into that are these 4 things, and I mentioned this on other podcasts before: relationships, your network, skills, resources, mentality, and thinking. Those are the 4 things. So resources: how much money, how much knowledge, what energy are you going to put in, what time, what do you need, or what do you need to acquire to achieve your goal? So you're going to be thinking about all of these things, and it's pretty wonderful to think about these things, because one of the biggest problems people have is a lack of consideration. They haven't actually considered things that are going to help them achieve more than they want. And really, if you want to achieve more than you want, you need to probably do things that you've never considered before. So what people are you going to be around? What resources are you going to use? What skills might you need? Are there certain skills that you need to get your goal? Because even if you have a goal and you made it so big, chances are now that you start out, you're probably thinking, I have this big goal and I have no idea how I'm going to get it. However, once you start releasing negative emotions, limiting beliefs, when you start gathering data, once you start taking action, and now you're thinking about what skills and resources and thinking and relationships and network you should have to achieve this goal, this means you're continuously focusing on what you want, and your mind gives you what you focus on 100% of the time. So even though you may not know right away exactly what it is that you got to do you notice a lot of this isn't any physical effort? You're thinking through this. You're expanding your mind through your goal. And this all started just with some pen or pencil on a piece of paper. Super easy, right? It was really easy to start thinking about your goal, and you certainly can start to think about this. Can you not? So if you're thinking about what skills you need to achieve, it's funny, one of the people that I do trainings from, he said at one point he was going to up his income by 20% each month for 6 months. Well, at the end of 6 months, guess what happens? Your income doubles because of compounding. So as your income doubles at the end of 6 months, he actually didn't know how he was going to achieve that 20% each month. He had no idea. However, he focused on his goal and he gathered data for his unconscious mind. And all of a sudden, people started reaching out to him and were like, I really need your help. I was thinking about you. We talked even before this, months ago. And I just decided today that I really need your help. So when you're working on acquiring new skills, I'm not sure exactly what skills he was acquiring. However, since he was focusing on the goal and focusing on these different things that could get there, and he was changing his thinking by thinking, how am I going to get to this 20% each month? He had to change his thinking. He had to challenge his current thinking. He had to expand his thinking in different ways. So a lot of people, if you don't set goals big enough, your unconscious mind isn't really going to think you have to do that much, because your unconscious mind already takes the path of least resistance. So if it does that, then your unconscious mind doesn't really even think it has to do anything at all. And your unconscious mind isn't going to take so many actions. However, when you push yourself and you have to consider new things, your unconscious mind is going to consider new things, and all of a sudden you're going to wonder why you even considered the things that you considered before this. So the other thing why writing your goals isn't enough, the other thing that you really want to do is you really want to reward yourself. The brain, your mind, it craves pleasure. Make your goals enjoyable. That's the main thing to consider here. Because what if you're going along and you know all your steps and your mind is programmed and you're never showing your mind anything good on the way to your goal? Do you think your unconscious mind is going to want to keep going and keep going and keep going? So reward your progress along the way. So for example, when this person rewarded themselves throughout their goal, they rewarded themselves a specific amount each month. And then at the end of the 6 months, when they achieve their main big goal, the combined of all of those, they rewarded themselves again. Now, I'm not going to tell you exactly how to reward yourself. It could be a weekend getaway. It could be going out to your favorite dinner. It could be buying some new clothes. It could be doing something for your family, your spouse, whatever it is. Your unconscious mind, though, if you're rewarding yourself along the way, it builds motivation. It shows your unconscious mind that this is fun. You're having a good experience achieving this goal. It's not like you're sitting around and going, oh, gosh, I got to work on this goal today. That totally sucks. No, you're building motivation. So what do you think now? Just like that person that I had that meeting with, they told me that they had to start rethinking their goals. Interesting, because one of the things here is expanding your thinking. Remember a little cluster: relationships, network, skills, resources, thinking, and mentality. They had to rethink their goals. They were going to rethink their goals in a whole new way, and that means that they would change their focus. And when you change your focus, what does that lead to? Does anyone know? That leads to a whole new reality. You see, every suggestion I make to you, the suggestion gives you a certain thought. And that thought, depending on your past programming, and you should have good programming because, remember, you're programming your unconscious mind for success for your goal. So any suggestion I give, it leads to a thought. And that should lead to a really good program that gives you a good emotion, because that thought leads to an emotion. And that emotion leads to your focus. And that focus leads to your reality. So that person rethinking their goal, those thoughts led to new emotions. Those emotions had them focus on their goal in a whole new way. And I'm sure you can imagine how that person started to find their reality once they rethought their goal. And I'm sure they're rethinking many different scenarios now. So remember, writing goals isn't enough. Programming the unconscious mind, gathering data, taking action, building your skills, your resources, your relationships, and your thinking, and rewarding yourself are going to make it so much more easy to achieve goals. Remember, the effort you put in your mind. A lot of these things, I'm not telling you to work so hard. I'm not telling you to hustle. Most of the action I was telling you to take was to see if you know someone who already achieved the goal, and they can tell you how to do it, and they can guide you along. Yes, it's going to take some work. However, the more effort you put in your mind, the less effort you have to put in the physical. So thanks so much for listening. If this was helpful, definitely share this episode with someone that you know will benefit. If you haven't already, go ahead and rate the podcast wherever you are listening so this can get into the minds of many others. And make sure to check out my new book, The Transformative Power of Hypnosis. This is available on Amazon, on Kindle, and paperback, and the link to purchase the book will be available in the description of the episode. Thanks so much for listening. Let me know what goals you want to achieve and how easy it's going to be now. And I hope to see you on the next episode.